In this video, we're going to take this rusted old Stanley plane and turn it into something that looks nice and is very usable. All right, so our first step is going to be to disassemble the plane. So now you can see how much rust we're dealing with here. The Japanning looks actually pretty good. So I don't know that I want to dip this in a vapor rust or anything that might take some of the Japanning off. I think what I'm going to do first of all is I'll clean it and then see if I can use some abrasives to get that rust off of there. Here's my plane. I'm going to use one of these rust erasers and just start working on it with this. Now it's probably a pretty good time to talk about selecting the right candidate for a restoration. This is a Stanley No. 1, highly sought after, fairly rare, fairly valuable. This one is in a really good original condition. Don't know if it had ever been restored to any level at any time in its life, but if it was a long time ago. It's a beautiful little plane, and I would never touch it. You know the old saying, it's the only original once. But sometimes original's not that great because the plane we're working on in this video was rusted to beyond usability. So I had to do something with it. Not highly valuable, and I decided that I'm going to restore it back to near original condition. So I spent a lot of time on it. If I was to do this for money, I would never get my money out of it. It takes way too long. But I kind of thinking this one might be worth it. Now, spoiler alert, it's already done, and I know what it looks like, and I think you'll be impressed. So stick around and see how I got along with it. Now, you might have a differing opinion on how far I should go. So leave your comments on how far a plane should be restored, or even if a plane should be restored. If you like these kind of videos, hit the subscribe, and don't forget to hit the like. So now I've got all the bolts and the cap and the irons in this little tub, and I'm going to soak this overnight in a vapor rust, which is a great product for getting rid of rust. Now, I'm going to lightly sand the finish off the tote and knob.
simply because they're small and the finish is not real heavy, so it's just as quick to sand it off and have a little better control over that. And once I get the sanding done, I'm going to start using this toner spray. Now I start in the lighter areas and add more coats to the lighter areas to try and blend it into the color of the dark. And you can see now where that is all a very blended and uniform color. All right, now here I'm sanding the bottom of the tote so that it will set flush on the base and it'll eliminate any kind of wobble in that rear tote. And this is a fairly common issue with planes.
So back in the day, Stanley used to put a small decal with their logo on the tote. Now, they usually wear off, so I want to, for this one, replicate that look. So what I've done is, I've got my handle ready, I've got the stained down. You can see where I added plenty of that toner where it was light so that it blended in with the rest of it. Now what I've done is actually put a couple coats of shellac on this, and we're ready to apply the decal. So what the decal is, I purchased some paper. This is a white water slide decal paper. You print on with there's a laser, compatible with a laser printer. I printed these out, and then taking my time with a pair of small scissors, I cut all this decal out. And then this will get laid onto here. So what I'm going to do is I've got a little bucket of water, a little tub of water, and now I'll lay that in there, and that needs to soak for 30 seconds to a minute. All right, so now that's starting to separate from the paper. So now all I got to do is transfer that on. Oh, come on, I forgot how fiddly they were. All right, so now what we've got is an antique look. What I've done, once it was applied, I let it dry. I took a little bit of 400 sandpaper and just barely touched it. It was still soft, so it kind of broke up along the edges. I kept doing that around. I used a little bit of a Scotch-Brite to kind of take some of the color off of it. And then I used my toner spray that I toned this tote with over top of it to give it a little bit of an antiquing. And now it looks old, of the age of the plane. This is not trying to forge anything. It's just trying to restore it sympathetic to what it would have looked like. Okay, so a few things do require some specialty tools sometimes. The stud that's on the frog that the little adjuster knob runs on is a left-handed thread, which means it goes backwards from normal. And this one, if you remember, was seized up with this, and I had to put some heat on it and really bring it back out. I could not get it out, so I did not have. I ordered two little left-handed nuts from a gentleman on eBay. He sells a little tap and die set and some different tools that are specially for Stanley. They made some things with some very odd thread size and bolt size that you just can't get a regular tap and die for. So I got these two little nuts to lock onto the stud, so that what you do is you put the two nuts on. It's always tricky when you're doing it backwards. Then I'll take 2 wrenches.
tighten those together. And then I can put this back in here. I did need to clean this, threaded out a little bit. So I just ran my tap down in there. Now I'm going to put a wee touch of Loctite on that thread. Just a bit. All right, so now that's nice and tight. And we can run this adjusting screw back in, catch the yoke. And that runs up and down there really nice now. So now, I believe we're ready for some assembly.
All right, what do you think? I'm right proud of that. I think it turned out really nice. Now, a couple things I wanted to talk about was, first of all, the plane itself was really in not that bad a shape. It never had been used that much. It was really age and environment that had done its number on the plane itself. So a lot of what I did to this plane was not technique, was not any kind of special skill. It was just effort. You know, just using the sandpaper and grinding back the steel and doing the same thing with the blade and the chip breaker and everything. It was really just a lot of effort. The Japanning on it was in really good nick. I didn't have to do much to that except to clean it up. The handle and the tote, condition-wise, were fine. It did have that kind of light grain in the bottom of the tote itself that I didn't like. So using the toner spray, you know, I was able to blend the colors together so it was nice and uniform. I added the decal. No, to put the decal on it first, it certainly jumped out as, hey, I'm brand new. And I didn't particularly care for that. So I distressed it and antiqued it, kind of give it the vibe that I was looking for. To keep myself and my conscience good, I did mark on the bottom of the tote that that had been restored and the decal was a reproduction. So, you know, it's going to stay in my collection for now. So that's as best I can do there. The rest of it, it's all in good shape. The blade
Does have a little bit of damage to it still. It warped because it was in this chip breaker for all those years, so it pitted only above that, and so it did cause it to warp a little bit, but the business end of the blade's fine. Once I got it nice and square and sharp, it worked just fine. So I'm right pleased with it. Let me know what you think, and thanks for stopping by.